We received a request to demonstrate how to manually deploy Docker images to Rancher. Until we get this automated, this is the process we will be asking teams to abide by. So let's just jump right into it. You can see that I am logged into Rancher as myself. I am in the production DevOps environment. There are, of course, environments, staging and production environments for all of the enterprise services. So I am in the production DevOps environment. I am under the Lumen Starter stack. I will be doing this demonstration under the demo Lumen Starter application. So right now you can see that we have a demo Lumen Starter application up and running. You can go to this web page, lumenstarter.realpage.com. You can see that it is up and running. It is behind an Amazon Elastic Load Balancer. So what we will start with is FPM. FPM is the application itself. It is running an older version of FPM. So what we will be doing is upgrading the images from the older version to the newer version. So we will log in, navigate through the applications tab down to the stack that we want, which in this case is Lumen Starter. We will go to FPM. Over here on the right, you see this drop-down menu. We will go to Upgrade. So you can see here, select an image. This is the new image that we are going to want to upgrade to. So in Docker Hub, I have a Docker Hub tab open with the Lumen Starter repository. We will find FPM. Here's the new tag, the latest one we have, usually up at the top. We'll come down here, replace the tag with the new tag, and that's really all you need to do on an up and running application. If you don't need to change any variables, if you're just upgrading the code from one to another without migrations or anything, that's really all that needs to be done. You just replace the tag, you come down here and you hit upgrade. But before I leave this window, I will show you. Here are the environment variables for this application. You can add, you can remove, you can update any environment variables that you need on that container here before you upgrade it. I don't need to do that, so I will just go ahead and upgrade it. This will take me back to the application stack page. You can see here that FPM is upgrading to the newest tag. This can take about a minute or so. One important thing to note is before upgrading the web container, which is the Nginx container, we do need to wait for FPM to be finished. So you can see here that it has finished. It is in the upgraded state. There are two containers. There is the older container and the newer container. One thing to note is if for some reason the upgrade, you upgraded to something that you didn't want to upgrade to, or if the application ends up not working, before you finish the upgrade, you can roll back to the older image if you really need to. So this allows you to do a redeployment and test your application, and if everything's hunky-dory, then you go ahead and finish the upgrade, and that will remove the older containers off of the hosts. If your deployment breaks things and you need to revert, this rollback option allows you to do that. So you can roll back FPM to the older image, and it will just get rid of that newer image, and you will be back at the same state you were at before you redeployed the application. So I will go ahead and, since FPM is finished, I will go ahead and upgrade web now, which is the Nginx container. So here's the new Nginx tag. We'll copy that and we'll paste it in here. Shouldn't need any changes here. This should already be set up correctly. I'll go ahead and upgrade this. The reason we upgrade web after FPM is finished is because there's a known issue in Rancher currently with upgrading an application without restarting Nginx causes some 502s. So wait for FPM to be finished upgrading, then upgrade Nginx, and hopefully if you did it fast enough, the load balancer won't kick the application off. But since we are doing this manually, chances are the AWS load balancer is going to kick your application off of the healthy list of instances. We have the health checks right now set to check every 30 seconds, and 2 healthy checks will put it back on. So after a minute, at most a minute and a half, this application should be back on the load balancer. We can go ahead and test it to see. Yeah, see, it looks like the AWS load balancer has kicked the instance off of its healthy list. So in about a minute, we can revisit this and it should be working again. So another thing we need to take into consideration are the command line interface containers that we have. For instance, this would be the queue, migrations, and reset database containers. The reset database won't be on production, of course. We would never want that to accidentally be run on production. But the migrations container, we can go ahead and show you how to upgrade that. So let's go into the migrations container, upgrade it. We'll grab the new CLI tag from Docker Hub and replace that. You can see here that this container actually has a command that it runs when the container starts, and as opposed to FPM and Nginx, this one is only started once and it is never restarted. So we want FPM and Nginx to come back online if they go down for any reason. This container does not run constantly. It comes up, it runs this command, then it shuts down, and that's what we want. So this will come up, migrate the database, and then shut off, and it won't stay active. And we don't want it to restart. We don't want this to keep migrating the database over and over and over and over and over. So we set it to just start once, run, and that's that. So we'll go ahead and upgrade this. That will go through, upgrade, run that migration command, and then shut down. We can do the same thing for the queue and the reset database. I'll go ahead and skip showing you those. What I can do is hopefully this has been brought back online. Yep, looks like the load balancer has picked up the Lumen Starter healthy instance again. Really no changes to this page, but it is running the newer version of the Lumen Starter application with that newer Docker image. So it looks like everything is working. So I'll go ahead and hit this check mark, the finish upgrade check mark, and this will clean up those old containers that we don't need anymore. Another request I had was a request on how to check the logs of these containers. Normally, I would go to infrastructure, and it would give me a list of hosts, and I'd be able to do some command line stuff and check logs from there. But you guys with your limited access won't have this tab. So if you actually go into the FPM container, you can see, well, the FPM service, you can see this Lumen Starter FPM container. You can actually come over here, hit this view logs, and it will show you that it looks like the AWS load balancer has been, hitting the health check over and over. It's sending out 200 responses. This is the logs for the FPM container. We can also execute a shell here. this will execute a shell in the container itself, running the application. You can run PHP artisan. Oh my gosh. You can run artisan commands here. You could actually do. You could migrate the database from here instead of rerunning that container, the migrate container. We suggest you do the migrate container since it is already set up. So going down through the application stack into the service and this drop-down menu for the actual containers will allow you to look at logs and execute shell commands in case for some reason you need to get in and do some shell or log work. So one other thing I can show you is this reset database command, or rather this reset database service. This is I'll go ahead and upgrade it and show you. I'll just, you know what, I'll just upgrade it. I already have that copied. So I'll go ahead and update the container. And you can see that this runs a PHP script called reset environment. One thing that wasn't in my last tutorial was this reset environment script. What this does is it wipes the database, rolls back all the migrations, then remigrates it and reseeds it. So this is not something that would be put on production. It will be on the staging environments though. You have the choice of running this container. It will wipe the database though, and reseed it. So if you need to do a deployment, a redeployment rather, and you need data to persist from one state to the next, do not upgrade this container because it will run this command. It will wipe all of your information. I will go ahead and run it, and I upgraded it. It is running. It will come up online. It will run that script, and it will come offline. So that just wiped the database, rolled back all of the migrations, remigrated, and reseeded. And I'll go ahead and finish that upgrade. That should wrap it up. So we went over the deployment, starting with FPM, ending with web. Make sure you run web after FPM just to get that, just to make sure that you don't encounter that Nginx Rancher bug. We went over executing the shell and grabbing the logs from certain containers. We went over migrations, and we went over the reset database container. Migrations and the reset database container being containers that are started once and not restarted. One last thing I will mention, if you did want to run the reset database command without upgrading, it is possible to do that. Come in here, you see the started once container. You can go over here and start the container. It will start it, run it, and then stop it again. You can see it said stopping because it doesn't have a command that runs in the foreground, or it doesn't have anything that persists. It just runs that script and then it shuts down. So that should about do it. Thank you for your time.